Hello everyone and welcome once again to SUTV Live, where we'll be bringing you all the build-up to this afternoon's game as Paul Heckingbottom's Blades travel to the capital to take on Millwall as this roller coaster of a season continues, providing drama and excitement at every turn. Last time out on Wednesday night, it was Blackburn Rovers at Bramall Lane.
Berger has come short. Flight now to Oliver Norwood. His cue, but it might fall for Billy Sharp. No cross steered away by Wharton. This is a good start from United. Fleck does really well here for United. There's an overlap here. It's George Baldock again. Fine save by Kaminski, and Berger can't quite get to the rebound. Norrington Davies' cross hits the Ambe. Another corner to United. Billy Sharp looking for Berger. Great first touch. Sander Berger for United. Saved again by Kaminski. Norrington Davies. Flag is up. Here's Sander Berger. Sharp's in the box. And it goes. Looking for Billy Sharp. What a chance. Sander Berger on the charge. Still Sander Berger into the penalty area. Brilliant from Berger. Kaminski gets a touch. That was Baldock following in. He really is in the mood for more goals. Fleck in a bit of space. Fleck's going to take it on here. John Fleck, awkward for the keeper. Might come to Gibbs White. Morgan Gibbs White, saved by Kaminski. Cadra's away from Baldock. He's into the penalty area. Cadra peels the handball, and a penalty to Blackburn Rovers against John Egan. Cadra then for Blackburn Rovers. And Cadra it's saved by Foderingham. Wonderful save. Diving away, got a hand to the ball. And it goes, keeper comes, again not convincing, headed towards goal! And it's goal! Ben Davies, of all people! Have United won this at the death? It's the substitute. It's first for the Blades, and what a time to get it! It didn't look like they did it when they were down to 10 men, when they conceded a penalty, and the Blades snatch all 3 points, and the run continues. Another clean sheet. Another terrific 3 points, and Ben Davies rightly takes the acclaim of his teammates.
So that was then, this is now, and the relentless nature of the Championship. It's all continuing today in South London, and we have lots in store for you over the next 55 minutes or so as we build up to kick-off. We're going to be hearing from the manager and one of Wednesday night's heroes, goalkeeper Wes Foderingham. Plus, we'll have an SUTV Live exclusive interview with Wednesday's match winner, Ben Davies. All the build-up to kick-off is free for all Blades fans, and for all the information and broadcasting regulations relating to this afternoon's game, head over to sufc.co.uk, and there you can catch up on all the details. So, hello once again and welcome to our studio here in beautiful downtown Bramall Lane, and looking forward hopefully to this fantastic run continuing this afternoon. So let me introduce you to my guests who are going to be with me, as ever of course, a regular 100% record so far this season, Kevin Gage. Kevin, just about recovered from Wednesday night?
Yes, it was an eventful game, wasn't it?
It will
live long in the memory, that one, definitely.
And joining Kevin this afternoon, our legendary goal scorer, Brian Deane. Hi, Brian.
Hi, John. You all right?
Are you going to get it out of the way? You're going to rip it out of this shirt, aren't you?
I thought you were going to introduce the shirt on its own.
Classic cars, this is classic cars.
Beautiful, beautiful.
One of my passions.
I only wish I could, I wish I could get away with that. I'm not sure I can.
Well, I'm not sure I can. We'll decide later on. I just thought I'd raise the bar a bit. But Kevin, I mean, Wednesday night, what a dramatic match.
Yeah, it had everything, didn't it? The drama, the sending off, the comeback. Blackburn were a very good side as well. Strange to think that's 5 games they haven't scored now, because they caused us all sorts of problems, especially down this left-hand side with Kedra. So it's amazing they didn't score. But yeah, we just kept going and going and going. And I was saying all evening that I fancied us to cause them problems at a set piece, because early on the keeper was flapping at our long throws, really struggling. And the longer the game went on, you just felt like it was possible that we might nick something from a set piece. And of course, didn't expect it to happen in the second minute of injury time, and the sub that had just come on about 2 or 3 minutes earlier But I mean, wonderful. It just about makes up for the disappointment of losing those 2 goals at Preston. So we'll wipe the slate clean now.
And of course being done by Millwall here at Bramall Lane earlier in the season with that injury time winner which gave them a 2-1 win. So need a little bit of revenge. But seeing this run, Brian, I mean, it warms the heart, doesn't it? Did we get away with one here though?
I'm not sure we got away with it. I think it's been it's a reward for all of the way how the team seems to be playing, and you know, everybody in the club and in the building just seems to be, you know, in the right direction, in the right place. Everybody wants to be part of it, and that's what happens. You know, that's a case of we never give up, and you know, they got the reward.
Well, our recent form has been really good. And I think on form, if you actually look at the whole season, we are actually on form, the top team in the Championship right now. Yeah,
no, it doesn't surprise me. You know, the way other guys have come in and the transformation around where the team was and actually just the mindset has been amazing to watch. You know, they've come in, Paul Heckingbottom, Stuart McCall and Jack Lester, and it's totally transformed. They've gone back to how the team was set up, you know, in the most successful period in recent history. And everybody's bought into it, and you can see that everybody wants to be a part of, you know, the success and, you know, everything that is happening at the club at the moment.
No square pegs in round holes, are there? And as well, I mean, I know we've said it before, Kevin, but you know, it's about managing the schedule. And when you look at the Championship table, and as everybody I'm sure does do anxiously all the time, you look at those top 2. Is there still that glimmer of a hope of the automatic?
Well, there's always a glimmer of hope, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the Bournemouth have got the 2 games in hand now, but you know, they have to get results, and they've slipped up recently. And of course, all those top teams have to come here as well, to Bramall Lane, you know, and probably under the lights, you know. So it's going to be a fantastic occasion, and they are real 6-pointers. But as Brian said, you know, our run's been superb, built on a rock-solid defence. Absolutely superb defensively we've been. We've got so many creative players in our squad and in our team at any one time that we're always going to create chances and score goals. But I think the key to, since when Heckingbottom's come in, is our defensive solidity. You know, we've been absolutely superb with a great goalkeeper behind the back 5.
Well, we'll talk more about the great goalkeeper a little bit later on, but you know, this is action so soon after the demands of Wednesday night, Brian. It's about managing the schedule, managing expectations and keeping a squad fit.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a bit of a, you know, it's always a bit, this time of the year with the amount of games that are coming up and you're looking at injuries and so on, it's always a kind of conundrum for the manager to think, well, you know, who's the right fit for this role, you know, bearing in mind we're playing this team and against those types of players. It's not an easy job, and you know, like I've said, you've got, like, you're getting to the bare bones stage now. We've got a couple of players who are out for the season, which doesn't help. But yeah, it's always great to be involved in this time of the year, especially when there's such a positive feeling in and around the place.
And if you could go into that dressing room right now, Kevin, after Wednesday and looking ahead now, and with the run they've got behind them, okay, we've got a couple of big injuries which have taken players out, but the whole squad got to be buzzing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't help be anything but, can you? Because especially the way the game finished, you know, on Wednesday, absolutely superb. So we're going to be utilising the whole squad. When you see the team later on, you'll realise maybe we've got one eye on the next 2 games coming up as well. We've got 2 huge games coming up. So yes, it's going to be a case of kind of horses for courses, and he's got to manage the team and the squad very, very carefully.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest and Middlesbrough coming up. Home games, big ones those. Forest on Friday, and then Middlesbrough coming up the following week. We'll look in more detail at that a little bit later on. But as we've said, that result on Wednesday night, a real night of drama and emotion, and 3 points on the board as Paul Heckingbottom looked back.
Paul, many congratulations on the victory. Great drama at the end. Your take on what has been a big night at Bramall Lane?
I hope everyone who's been to the game thinks that way. Big night, big occasion, big result, big performance. So yeah, we're delighted with it, obviously. And listen, it don't matter if people say it doesn't. It does feel different winning a game that way, especially when you've got 10 men and it's an injury time winner. But this is what you play for, moments like this, and I think it's really important that we celebrate that. The sending off sort of galvanised the players and the fans. The penalty save reinforced that, and then the effort and everything that the players were putting in to get something out of the game just magnified it. So then the celebrations at the end are justified, really.
It almost seemed, given everything that had happened, that it was defiant almost after all of that.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we could speak about decisions. It was. I'll stop you if you want. I thought the sending off was right, the penalty was right, everything else he got wrong, and that's it in terms of decisions. So, from us in terms of game and performance, the bits we can control, we were good against a good side. We were good first half. I thought we should have been in front. Did everything but score, but we spoke about the things we wanted to do better. I thought Blackburn were better than second half. Trying to put a bit more pressure on us, but that didn't really concern me because I thought their biggest threat first half was counter-attacking, so that sort of went out the window a little bit, and we weathered that, got on top, and then the sending off sort of changed the pattern of the game, and then it's as it was.
Do you have to have a word with Good, because he went in and it was a fearsome tackle and ultimately a good one, but it looked as though the kind of the mist had set in with an earlier challenge, and then a few minutes later he didn't miss?
Yeah, listen, he's all-hearted. He can have no complaints. It's a red card. It's reckless, but he's all-hearted. And if he's, a few inches lower and he wins the ball, he don't have to get a cheer from every spectator in the ground. And they're the fine margins. And I've got no complaints with the red. Like I said, I've watched it back, and it's worse than I thought. At the time, I thought he'd won the ball, but it could have been one of those where they say he's going to be too much force, which I argue against. But he's not. He's over the ball, and then sort of he's followed through, collects the ball, so we can't complain about it.
Some refreshing honesty there from Paul Heckingbottom about one of the major talking points of Wednesday night. Another major talking point, of course, was the performance and that fantastic save from Wes Foderingham.
Well, first of all, how satisfying was it to make the save from the penalty spot?
Yeah, I mean, in recent games I've not had that much to do, and today obviously a penalty comes up and I'm just glad I could do my part and make the save.
How much time do you have to think? Because you clawed that one away. It didn't hit you, you didn't dive past it. You grabbed that one and pushed it clear.
Yeah, you do your homework. You have a look in the penalty takers before the game. Unfortunately, he wasn't on the list. So it was just one of those things. I was looking over at Juki, he gave me a little bit of a signal. So yeah, you pick a side, you go and you hope it's in and around you. And I managed to get the left hand up and claw it away.
It must be satisfying when all of that preparation for that split second and it comes together.
Yeah, you work hard all throughout the week and you do things right. You don't cut corners, and a lot of time luck will be on your side. So, like I say, you do the right things and you get a little bit of fortune. And today it was in my bit, and it was just within my reach to come out and make the save.
And it must have been like that recently. Yeah, you mentioned the idea that some games maybe you don't have a great deal to do. So keeping your concentration throughout the last 7 or 8 games where there's been a load of clean sheets has been vital.
It's part of goalkeeping. Sometimes you have a lot to do, and other times you don't. It's about keeping concentrated, staying focused, and doing the basics right, which I try and do all the time. And the big moments are what separate the good goalies from the top goalies. Not saying I'm a top goalie, but big moments, big saves, what can change the course of a game. And tonight I showed I could do that.
However, whatever you think of yourself, you must be loving life right now. I mean, you're in a team that's had loads of clean sheets and been a significant part of that this season.
The team's been fantastic. The whole defensive unit has been really, really strong. Like I said, they've helped me massively throughout the season. It's been easy to settle in. I'd like to think that I've come in and added to that as well. So, yeah, I'm pleased. The boys are pleased, and we're going really strong at the moment.
What a happy man. And you know, I'm not a huge lover of massive statistical analysis of any sport, but I tell you what, 644 minutes without conceding a goal at home for Sheffield United is one which I think really does merit being spoken about, because that is the best defensive record and the longest clean sheet that any club has had in Europe's top 6 divisions, which is just incredible. I mean, a good goalkeeper is so important to any team, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, as I said earlier, he's playing behind a very, very good defence, and he mentioned it himself. He's quite honest there. He hasn't had an awful lot to do, but what he's done superbly well. He's in the right place at the right time, and he has made 1 or 2 absolutely crucial saves for us. Another fantastic save. We've forgotten about that one in the second half. That's a really good stop, and getting 2 good hands to that and pushing that away. So he makes crucial saves at crucial times. I also like the fact he comes for the ball very well. When he comes for the ball, he doesn't flap at the ball at all. He always comes and seems to get connection, and usually 9 times out of 10 he'll catch it cleanly. And it just takes the pressure off our defence completely. Another thing we picked up on the other day is his footwork and his distribution is very, very good as well. All the defenders can pass the ball back to him, confident that he's going to have a good touch out of his feet, and he usually delivers the ball really accurately long up the pitch.
If you've got a good man in goal, Brian, it must just carry on to the team and give so much confidence.
Yeah, I mean, it makes so much difference having somebody that you are comfortable and confident in. I've seen it over time where you've got somebody and you've got a goalkeeper who is perhaps not having the best time, and it just does make the rest of the defenders around him very nervous. But I think watching Wes, it's been one of those where you can see the calmness that he brings to the team, and I think that he's had as much to do with the resurgence as anything else. You know, getting players back like Sanderberg and so on. But no, he's been fantastic.
What makes a good goalkeeper, Kevin?
We used to say they were all mental, didn't we? Many years ago. I think they've got to be confident character to actually do the position. You've got to be full of yourself and full of beans. But I agree with Brian. I was going to interject there and say that's another thing I've been very impressed with. He's not a screamer or a shouter. No. He's not one of these Peter Schmeichel-like goalkeepers who's bawling at the defence all the time. He just gets on with his job. He does it calmly, coolly. There's no aggravation with him. He'll make the save. He's not bouncing around the penalty or anything. He just gets on with his job, and I think that calmness spreads all around the defence.
And that save that he made from the penalty, I mean, that's about as good as it comes, isn't it? Exactly. That won him the match.
Ultimately, yes. I mean, goalies will tell you that it's a 50-50 call. Unless you stand there right in the centre of the goal and don't dive, it's a 50-50 call, isn't it? So if he puts it the other side, they're 1-0 up, there's nothing you can do about it. But having gone the right way, to actually get a really, really strong left arm onto that, and then have the strength in your arm to actually bat it away, as we see here. So not only has he got to it, he's actually batted that away really 10 yards or so. It's not as if it's just fallen for the penalty taker to come in and finish it off.
It wasn't ball to hand, it was hand to ball, and at the speed that penalty was travelling, you've seen his reaction, and like I say, it was an unbelievable save. I remember seeing it and thinking, wow. Yeah,
it wasn't a bad penalty, was it?
No.
Yes, it was a good height for the goalkeeper, but he's hit that with some power, hasn't he?
And he's reacted.
Yeah.
We've seen the depth of the squad being shown in these matches, and we've got another youngster making his debut today, 19-year-old Kyron Gordon, who's going to be playing for the first time. It's important, isn't it, that he's got these defensive options at this stage, and so many of them, young guys who Paul will have known from having worked with the under-23s in the past.
Yeah, that's the key to it. He knows them. He's worked with them in the past, and it's a big confidence booster. It's a big statement, actually, to have the confidence in Kyron Gordon to play him this afternoon, because the easy option would have just been put Ben Davies in, especially after he's on a high after scoring on Wednesday. So I think that's a real feather in his cap, Kyron Gordon, that the manager has had the confidence to play him this afternoon.
some of these kids, I mean, you see some of the lads there in that lineup that you saw in that screenshot there. I mean, they've seen people coming through like Davies and others coming through as youngsters and really making a mark. And Kyron, I'm sure, will be thinking, hey, come on, this is my opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's the benefit of having your under-23s coach step up. You know, they will have a special personal relationship, and that will be reassuring to Kyron as he's playing. It's interesting that he does play Kyron as well, because I know Ben is a left footer, isn't he?
Yeah.
And it just tells me that if he's coming in and he's bringing in Kyron in, it's because if you have a left footer, for example, on the right, it slows down the flow of the play. So I just wonder if they're going to go for it because he's got a right player on the right-hand side, for example, and that just means that they're not planning on hanging around at the back. They're going to just use what they've got to switch the ball and for it to be natural to go forward rather than for it to come back.
And Paul's, sorry, Kevin, Paul's natural inclination seems to be to go for it. I mean, he doesn't want to say, I'm going to take a point here with a defensive performance. He'd rather run the risk of not getting that and picking up the win, which is 3 times what you get for the draw.
Yeah, there is that. I mean, I don't think we can go hell for leather and, absolutely go for Millwall. It's going to be tricky. But that's a very good point Brian's made. And also, Kyron Gordon being right-side defender, he will have played that role in the under-23s for the last 3-4 years. So he knows the role inside out. And I fully agree with what Brian's saying. Because he's right-footed, it will encourage him to come forward and join in the play a bit more. Whereas Ben Davies, if he was playing on that right side, he is predominantly, obviously, mainly left-footed. He'll be very reluctant to move forward because he would have to keep cutting back on his left-hand side and cutting inside, and it stops the flow of our attack. Kyron will be able to bomb down the right, not as well as Basham does, because Basham is unique in that role, but he will get forward and he will join in the play. Well, the teams are available, and first of all, let's take a look at the Sheffield United lineup this afternoon. One enforced change with Charlie Good, of course, being suspended after that tackle, which we'll draw a veil over on Wednesday night. That's one enforced change, but three other players out: Fleck, Berger, and Gibbs-White, and in come McBurney, Horahan, and Jai. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's horses for courses, and I think it's a team to go down to Millwall and do a job. And I'm not going to say we're going to be defensively or anything like that, but I think it's a slightly more solid team. And I also think he wants to save John Fleck, he wants to save Sander Berger, and he wants to save Morgan Gibbs-White for the upcoming games, if at all possible. Because Fleck's come back in the side, he's been brilliant. Sander Berger we know all about, of course, he's been outstanding. And Gibbs-White is our main creative player. So I think it's one eye on the next 2 games coming up, and let's go down to Millwall and just see what we can get.
Brian?
But I also think that, if you look at the bench, that's a strong bench. If the game's a close game in the 60th or the 70th minute, look at some of the options you can bring on, and that keeps the momentum going, hopefully, So I think that it's a good tactical decision to kind of use the whole squad, but also you can almost plan the game in 2 halves. You can be looking at what's going to happen in the first half, and then if X happens in the second half, these are my options to try and win the game.
What was your first ever full start in a first team?
Oh God.
Do you remember that one?
Good question.
Clearly not. But I mean,
no, I do actually.
Go on.
It was we played at home when I was at Doncaster against Swansea, and that was basically, it was one of those where I'd come on and there was a lot of nervous energy, so I spent the first 10-15 minutes getting my breath back, and I was knackered because I was just doing doggies. But what kind of the better part for me was I come on as a sub against Whitby Town and against Wigan, and I scored in both of those games just afterwards. So that kind of helps you to, So it's good to be kind of coming in a little bit at a time. But yeah, I remember my debut was like, I thought, is this what it's all about? I never got a touch.
What about yours, Kevin?
Yeah, I think we all remember our debuts, don't we? Yeah, I mean, I just turned 17, so I think I know I'm still the youngest player ever to play for Wimbledon, a record that will never be broken because the club doesn't exist anymore. It's now AFC. So yeah, we all remember our debuts. Yeah, they're fantastic.
What's Kyron going to be feeling like sitting in the dressing room waiting for that?
He's played in the Cup, hasn't he, earlier in the season, so he's had a little taste of the first team, and he's been around the first team squad as well, and they obviously know he's a quality player. The manager's got confidence in him, but I think making your actual league debut will be something special, definitely, and also at a place like Millwall as well, because it's a tricky place to go. It's not as intimidating as the old Den would be, where you used to get coins thrown at you as you came out and loads of abuse. Yeah, loads of abuse. But it'll be a big game for him, no doubt.
Absolutely, and of course we all wish him well, and let's hope that one really goes well for the young fella and he makes an impressive debut. Well, the team, of course, have arrived at the new Den. And as they moved onto the pitch, we had a chance to catch up with a man in form, George Baldock. George, thanks a lot for taking the time to have a word with us. You're getting barracked from behind, I think.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I mean, you know it's not going to be easy, this trip to Millwall. Never mind doing an interview with your mates right behind you.
Yeah, Ollie McBurney and Billy Sharp. Very childish. Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, though, is it, this afternoon? They're on form.
No, it's never easy, and obviously they're picking up results. Tough place to come. Yeah, and a manager that's been in this division a while. He knows what it's all about. Yeah, it's going to be tough. We've got a talented squad, and we know it's going to be a difficult afternoon. But we're fully focused on ourselves, and like I've said numerous times, when we're on our game, we're going to make it difficult for them.
Absolutely. I mean, 9 matches undefeated now. It kind of tells its own story, that one.
Yeah, definitely. And we've been keeping clean sheets recently. Hopefully, we can do that again because it, obviously, gives us that platform to then go and get points. And yeah, it's been really good recently. But we understand that it can change quickly, so we need to stay on it. And boys' feet are firmly on the ground at the minute.
What about your own form, George? You got that wonder goal a couple of matches ago and almost on the score sheet again the other night.
Yeah, I thought I'd scored the other night, to be fair. Keeper's made a couple of good saves. Yeah, it's been good, obviously, coming out of the team and having to work my way back in. It's taken me some time, but yeah, I feel like I'm finding my feet again and performing well. And the most important thing is contributing to helping this team do well, and that's the main thing. Manager's
done the little rejig again, 4 changes, one of them forced, but he's using the squad as ever. Yeah,
I think it's testament to him. In the past, he's done it before and it's worked. It's it's going to be an interesting day today. But the boys are all ready. Everyone trains hard. If you don't play, you're topping up on training and things like that. So everyone's ready, and it should be being childish again here. So it should be. So yeah, like I said, everyone's working hard. So no matter what team is out on the day, everyone knows their roles and responsibilities, and from a physical point of view as well, everyone's ready.
Looks a great afternoon for football. Thanks for coping with all going on around you, and try and get another of those fantastic goals for us.
I'll do my best.
Thanks a lot, George.
Cheers, bye.
Yeah, thanks to George Baldock. It's not always easy talking in front of a camera, not least when your mates are trying to put you off, Kevin. I mean, you did pretty well there, struggling manfully.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get a ball in the side of the face as well. It's thrown from one of your teammates. Or that used to happen regularly, didn't it? Yeah.
Especially when you got someone like Glyn Hodges wanging him in.
But it's nice to see him back, and as he says, he's played himself into form, and he looked brimful of confidence, didn't he, Brian, on Wednesday night? And he almost got another spectacular goal. I
mean, if you score a goal like that, you're going to feel brilliant every time you come forward. I mean, he's been fantastic since he come back in the team, and I've always been excited watching him play, and especially when he gets in and around the box. Last season, I can't remember which game it was, but he did an unbelievable bit of skill and nearly scored in a game down here, and I just think that you know, he's a great player to watch.
And that volley against Swansea, you know, the one which nearly broke the back of the net, it's hard to believe he's going to score a better goal than that.
Well, he never will score a better goal than that. He said he's never scored a better goal in his whole career, even in training. So I think that sums it up. But not only that, but he's getting forward and getting on the end of things now. He's got a real, you know, eye for a goal. I think that's given him a bit of a lift, that goal, isn't it? Because he got on the end of two on Wednesday. He had a shot that was a brilliant save from the keeper.
The one that was going for the corner.
Yeah, with the right foot shot. Yeah, and then he got inside the penalty area, deep in the penalty area again, and had a left foot shot that just happened to cannon straight into the keeper. So he could have had a couple of goals there. But yeah, I mean, you know what you're getting from George Baldock, just up and down the line, constantly going. And what's also good, the goal was actually created by Baldock's run to go outside of Sander Berge in the 92nd minute. Baldock shot off down the line on an overlap, created a bit of space, and it allowed Sander Berge to get the cross in, which led to the corner. It was just fantastic physical ability to just keep going.
What's been good, I think, is watching both wing-backs when the ball's on the other side, they're joining in, aren't they, constantly, and that's another player in an attacking position, which you don't always get from wing-backs. It just shows how dynamic they are as a pair. You know, and that's great, because as long as they're going that way, it takes the opposition's players back as well.
Right, we've got the Millwall team. This is the lineup who are going to have to cope with our buoyant Blades. What's your thoughts on this Millwall lineup? They're on a run.
Yeah, they're obviously a half-decent team, aren't they? We say this most weeks. There's no easy games in this division. They've won their last three, I think. They beat quite a good Derby side, even though Derby are down the bottom. They're a good side with the points deduction. You know, they're good. So they play three centre-half system with wing-backs, so we go kind of head-for-head, like-for-like. The number 5, Jake Cooper, is the centre-half who scored in the last minute to win the game for them down here, so we owe him one as well. Jed Wallace runs the midfield for them. Good players, been around a lot, and as I say, the two flying wing-backs, McNamara and Scott Malone. Now they do play us very, very high. They're more wingers than fullbacks, definitely. Gary Rowett's done a good job down there. You get that impression, and I'm sure when he looks at the table, I mean, they're not that far behind the Blades, and he'll be still thinking in terms of playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, Gary's a very intelligent, forward-thinking manager, and you know, Millwall isn't the kind of place where you go as a player if you faint-hearted. You know, they don't suffer fools down there. So they'll always be solid, you know, and if they can add a little bit of craft, they're going to give anybody, you know, a good game on the day. So it's about consistency. It seems like they're rolling into some form at the moment. So that's always dangerous for a team like us going down there and looking to pick up 3 points. But, you know, it's going to be a fantastic test, I think.
Yeah, there you see that run. The only defeat on that lineup. They're 3-0 against Fulham, and as we've seen Fulham's progress through the season, no great disgrace there. But apart from that, coming into it on an impressive run, and victory at Pride Park on Wednesday. Goal scorers were Jed Wallace and Tyler Burley, who are going to be in the lineup tonight and this afternoon, rather. And talking about the venue. Is it really as intimidating as people say to play down there?
It's not anymore. Well, if you've ever been to the old Den, that was a place to go. My word,
scary.
Very, very scary. I'm just pleased they managed to put the fences up in the mid-80s, because you don't want to go there before the fences came up. Yeah, I mean, what abiding memory I have. The worst injury in my career was sustained at the old Den. I was playing for Aston Villa, and I got a knee injury, and I was being carried off round the side of the pitch, and I was still getting pelted with coins and Mars bars and things like that, and getting loads of abuse as I'm sat in agony, you know, on this stretcher. So yeah, not a nice place to go, but the new Den is a little bit different.
I've actually only played at the new Den once. I didn't play at the old one, but I got sent off.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you do?
well, looking after myself.
Told somebody to behave themselves in no
terms.
It's
funny. It's an old friend of both of ours, actually, Dennis Wise.
Oh my word!
So Wise is the biggest wind-up merchant there is.
He can start a fight in an empty room, Dennis Wise. So I'm not surprised.
So
it's one of the golf analogies, isn't it? What do you call a nasty 5-footer and Dennis Wise?
Yeah.
He was somebody who could certainly wind up the opposition, to put it mildly. And so far as Sheffield United are concerned, we looked back into our archives and found one from back in 2018. And while we just continue to chat about life at the new Den and about going down to Millwall, this was a victory by 3-2 away. A couple of goals for McGoldrick. Billy Sharp missing a penalty, but eventually was on the scoreline, and so very much needed points for the Blades. It's as you say, it's an absolute far cry, isn't it? The new Den from what went before. The last one was a slum. Now it's a pretty impressive ground.
It's one of these kind of identikit new stadiums, isn't it? It's very much, they all kind of look the same. I hope I'm not being disrespectful there, but they're all very, very similar. But just the physical travelling as well is something to be considered, because we played on Wednesday evening, so Thursday's a kind of recovery day. You don't do much at all. And then Friday, you're slogging down the motorway in a coach, for 3 or 4 hours, aren't you? With the overnight stay. So it all kind of takes its toll at this stage of the season. And not only the games come thick and fast, but ideally you'd want an away game, within an hour or so. Maybe you could travel on the day. So the overnight stay does take its toll at times.
You forget about things like even the journey on the way to the game. Some of the grounds are really hard to get to in a coach. So it's all little windy roads. Crystal Palace is pretty similar, and
Liverpool.
It is actually stressful. Sort of like getting into those little streets, and you've got fans either side, and you're trying to get your focus, and it's intimidating there. Then going into the changing rooms, which sometimes some of these pitches, some of these stadiums, the actual changing rooms, they're not cosy with like lounge sofas or anything like that. It's pretty Spartan. And then you're then going out onto the pitch. So it's all in all, you've got to prepare yourself properly for a game like this today.
You remember the old Roker Park and the old Stoke City ground? I mean, they were right in the middle of old-fashioned sort of Coronation Street type houses.
I'll tell you a funny story about that. We had it was at the Blades, and we played Stoke away, and we had. It's like you say, it was very Spartan, the changing rooms, but then in the programme, they had Noel Blake in the centrepiece, just a picture of Noel, and anybody who knows Noel, he was like 6'4" and built like, and he had the Vaseline on his eyebrows and everything, and I thought, God, I've got to play against him now. I was only a young kid,
Oh dear, yeah. Things have changed just a wee bit from years gone by, but still, it's going to be a tricky visit for the Blades this afternoon, and on form, well, it's going to be close, you would think. Let's hope United can get 3 points, but we will see. They want to be buoyed because coming up 2 really important fixtures to follow this one, starting off on Friday when Nottingham Forest are the visitors. Forest just behind United in the table, and of course very much with promotion aspirations of their own. On air from 7 o'clock when Ashley Wilmot will be joined by Carl Asaba and that bloke called Kevin Gage. And then coming up after that, the following week, the following Tuesday, another home tie, and that is going to be the visit of Middlesbrough and Chris Wilder, Richard Graves, again with Carl Asaba and Kevin, and there's going to be a bit of edge on that one, isn't there?
Do you know what? The one game of the season I'm looking forward to the most is that game. And if Chris Wilder doesn't get a standing ovation when he comes back here, then I'd be very, very surprised. Because yes, of course we want to win the game, and we want to win it 5-0 and get through 3 points. But I think it will be a very emotional game for all concerned.
Be an interesting one, won't it? It'll be a special atmosphere, that one.
Yeah. I can't see Chris getting anything but a really good ovation. He did wonders while he was here, and I think the fans will appreciate and recognise that. I know when I came back, I was you know, I kind of thought, oh, what kind of, you know, reception am I going to get? But the fans were always good down here, and I think if you look at what Chris has done as a manager, you know, it's right up there. So I think that they'll be fine with him. They'll be looking forward to seeing him as well. But, you know, at the end of the day, they want the 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the 3 points is more important than the reception Wilder gets. But it'd be nice if they do recognise that before the game.
Yeah, we fans don't forget, and I'm sure it's going to be an emotional moment for him as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And listen, Chris is a professional as well. Yes, he's a massive Blades fan, but he'll want to win. He'll want to go home with all 3 points and a resounding victory, because you know they're right up there, of course. And those 2 games, I mean, they could well define the rest of our season, those 2 games. So that's why I said earlier, I think we might have one eye on, with the team selections today, we just have one eye on those 2 home fixtures.
Keeping sort of the powder dry for the moment.
Not wrapping players in cotton wool, but making sure Gibbs White, you know, making sure he's okay, because he's so important to us. And Sander Berger, of course.
Well, it took until the 92nd minute on Wednesday for United to clinch the match. A goal from Big Ben Davies, eventually striking, and 3 points in the bag. And in our SUTV live exclusive this week, Matt Young took the chance to sit down with the match winner.
Yeah, I mean, the initial feeling was probably a feeling that I've never felt before. It was unreal. And obviously, the aftermath of that, when you come back in the changing rooms and everyone's really happy, it was a really good evening. And then obviously, after that, social media, seen some good videos and obviously some pictures of it. So all good.
Wasn't a bad moment to get your first Sheffield United goal right at the death there, right in front of the Kop as well.
Yeah, no, it was perfect really. I was really happy for my teammates really, because obviously I've been sat there all game watching how hard they've been working, and to make them all that happy with a goal was really pleasing for me.
The part of Jack Robinson that can't go unmissed, because if he doesn't get that header, obviously you don't get that opportunity, do you?
Yeah. I said to him, what an assist, and said no one's talking about it. But no, it's kept alive well in the box, and I couldn't believe it. It just fell to me, and I looked up quickly before I kicked it, and there was no keeper in the net, obviously. But so I didn't have time to think about it. Just obviously struck to home, and then I was off. Didn't even know really what I was doing.
The fact that it was the 92nd, 93rd minute and we were down to 10 men, but still sent the 3 centre-halves forward for the corner. You could have easily just kept that ball in the corner there and played for a draw. But what does that say about the intent of this group?
Yeah, no, I think everyone obviously really, really wants to win every single game, and even when you're against it, at times like that, it's really hard to get out and break away and score, or play some good football and score. But if you get a set piece at the end of the game, then that's your best opportunity, really. So I think that's why we did that. And yeah, that intent to go on and win every game that we're playing is really good for us at the minute.
And obviously the importance of the squad. You've been out because the team's been doing so well, so many clean sheets, but then getting your moment to come on at the end of that game and contributing just goes to show everyone's got to play their part in this run.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's you know, the gaffer wants a big squad, which has obviously been a bit depleted lately, unfortunately. But like I say, to come on and help my teammates in that moment was really good, and we're going to need everyone for the rest of the season.
And to keep that run going, a really tough game ahead on Saturday against Millwall. What type of challenge can we expect down there?
A tough challenge, obviously. Good side, play some good football at times, and they've got some really good players actually. And obviously in this league now they've established themselves really well, and they're always within the top 10 every year. So difficult place to go, but obviously the run that we're on, we're full of confidence, and we feel like if we can put our stamp on the game, then we'll give ourselves a good chance.
Ben on the bench again this afternoon, and who knows, maybe another timely intervention if he's introduced into the fray in the closing stages. We'll wait and see, but it's another example of that depth of squad, and a guy coming in making a timely intervention, and who knows, in the matches still to come. There's a lot of football, isn't there? You know, he can still have a big contribution.
Absolutely, yeah. I think all the squad are going to be needed, as we've already touched on, you know, throughout the last few weeks. I think Ben's very disappointed. I think he will have expected to play today. I think the only reason he isn't playing is just because he's so left-footed and he's much more suited to that left-hand side. So I think that's why Kyron Gordon's got the nod. And as I said, it's a big game for Kyron Gordon, but I think he'll do okay.
Our recent form, if we can just take a look at this league table of attainment in the last 6 matches, has been exceptional, Brian, and lurking just behind and not far behind Millwall.
Yeah, it's that's what makes today a really key fixture. You know, I think if this is a game that we can come away with 3 points, it will really show everybody in the division that we mean business. I mean, you know, if you think about where the team has been earlier on this season, to be where they are now and be top of the form table tells you a lot about the manager and his squad, the kind of people, you know, that he's brought in with him, but also, you know, there's a real direction that the club want to go in now, and the players have obviously bought into it and feel good. You know, the goal against Blackburn tells. We've been in those games, haven't we, Kevin, where you score in the last minute and the togetherness that it brings. I just hope they can continue today with that.
You could see the reaction when he got that goal. I mean, the whole team went to him. They went mad, didn't they?
Absolutely. I wanted to be down there jumping on him. I said in commentary, I want to get on the pitch. It's fantastic. But that's put to bed now. You know, that's 2 points gained, really. We'd all settled for a point. We'd have settled for a point when he got sent off. We'd have snapped your hand off. So that's gone now, so we have to move on. And I think it's going to be a tricky game today, as we've already said. Millwall, half-decent side. Surprised that their home record's so good, actually. I didn't realise it was so good. So that makes it doubly difficult. So I think, to be honest, anything we get today is a bonus.
Well, we'll take a look at our away form and see if you can interpret this. Does that give cause for optimism?
Well, yeah, we don't. As we've already said, we don't give much away, and we're on this clean sheet record. I mean, the longer that goes on, the better. Obviously, we're just a difficult side to play against. We usually dominate the ball, so that will be interesting whether we can do that at a tricky away tie. We usually manage it wherever we go, so let's hope we can dominate the ball and get our creative players, you know, into good positions, and Jai coming back in the side. I mean, I'm always excited to see Jai. He's been frozen out a bit because Gibbs White has been so good, but I mean, what a good player Jai is. So he's due a goal and a really good game. So yeah, we've got enough going forward to win the game, and if we can be strong and secure at the back, as we usually are, then, you know, we can get something out of it, definitely.
Sense a bit of optimism in your mate here, Brian.
Yeah, and rightly so, to be honest. I mean, I'm as excited as Kevin is, because I see that there isn't, you know, look, there's no need for anybody to be intimidated by going down to the Den today. It's a very intimidating atmosphere usually, but I think on the way how the form is at the moment, it's a good time to be going anywhere. And I'm very impressed with the way how he's probably worked out how, you know, with the options available, he's worked out how his squad lies today. I kind of allude to the substitutes bench, and I see that there are a lot of options there, but he's also getting the opportunity to rest players who are going to be critical for the next few weeks. You know, the likes of Berg, Morgan Gibbs-White, you know, and Dye, like Kevin's just said, has come in, and they're playing that similar type role. So I'm quite optimistic as well. I hope that comes across.
It certainly does. I'm not sure how many people are actually making the trip down there today as United fans, but there'll be a fair number, and they'll play their part.
There's always a fair number. Don't worry about that. You know, we'll be close to selling out our allocation, and however many there are, they'll make some noise and they'll get behind the boys for sure. Right,
I'm going to banish you in a moment to head off to your commentary points to bring live coverage of the match. Before you go, what's going to happen?
We're not going to lose.
We're not going to lose?
That's all I'm going to say.
We're not going to lose. So it's cautious optimism rather than through and through. Well, thank you for that, Kevin, and we'll be hearing from you through the match, of course, in just a minute or two. But now let's look ahead and take a look at the pre-match press conference, which was taken by Stuart McCall, and hear his thoughts on this afternoon.
Yeah, they certainly are. 3 wins on the bounce, a couple of really good home performances. They beat West Brom 2-0. They also beat QPR, I think last time out at home 2-0. So yeah, again, they've had a couple of injuries, so they might not be freshening it up as much as they would have liked. But listen, when you've won 3 on bounce, you've got momentum. Speaking from experience, went down there earlier in the season with Blackpool. The crowd will get behind them. Although we'll have, I'm sure, a really good travelling support down there, and they'll make themselves heard as usual. But not an intimidating atmosphere, but it'll have an edge to it. 2 sides were in form, and I think it'll be. I remember going back to the old stadium, the Den, where it was tight, but it's a good big park. There's a lot of space on there. So if we look after the ball well, move the ball quickly, then we're confident that we can create opportunities. But we'll have to be at it like every game.
Do you still feel that the Millwall atmosphere is still as it is? I appreciate there's 2 sides to that, but is going to the Den still like it used to be?
Yeah, I was just speaking about that earlier on this season. They start that song to get them going. Like we've got our song, the Chip Butty song. They've got a song down there that gets all their fans on their feet and gets them going. But again, it's what you do when you go to supposedly intimidated atmosphere. You take the sting out of it, you get on the ball, and get possession of the ball. And we're only one thought in our mind tomorrow is to go down there and try to come back with 3 points. A very positive front foot performance. That's what we're after, and hopefully we can deliver.
Well, hopefully they can deliver, but a sense of realism as well there from Stuart Bryan. He knows that Millwall are going well, and he knows that nothing's going to be served up on a plate today. They're going to have to go out there and battle. Yeah, nothing ever is when you go down to Millwall, but I just like the kind of I can kind of imagine the kind of atmosphere that Stuart with his experience, the manager, and Jack Lester creating that changing room before a game, and I think the players will be well prepared when they go out for the start of the game. I can see a pretty fast start, and I think that they go into this game with a lot of confidence. I'm sure you've been in situations, Brian, and in teams where it's just not worked for whatever reason. Yeah. And although we had loads and loads of hopes at the beginning of the season, and Slaviša Jokanovic, he'd got a track record, but it clearly wasn't working for whatever reason. Yeah. Paul's come in, taken it over, and with Stuart and Jack behind him, that's been the catalyst for an extraordinary change. Yeah, I think you really need to understand the culture in a club like this, and I was one who was saying that I felt that he would be a good change because perhaps that's the kind of manager you need to take over after somebody like Chris. But let's be honest, Stuart, Hecky, they've come in and they understand the expectations of the fans, they understand the expectations of the club. And it's worked really well. The players as well. When you've got players who have been used to being drilled in a certain way and then they're being asked to do something completely different, it does have an effect. And I'm telling you now, the players have been happy going back to what they knew, and they know what was giving them success. So it's just rolled on from there, really. And like I said, they've got nothing to fear from any team in the league. This is going to be a different type of test. And it always is down at Millwall, so it's going to be interesting. But if they can get it right, they've certainly got the team, they've certainly got the squad to be able to get a favourable result today. Is it just a question of speaking to them in the language that they understand, or is it recognising what each player can do, and just making sure you don't put a square peg in a round hole, put them in positions in which they're comfortable? I think that's what they've done. I think you've hit the nail on the head, putting them into positions where they're comfortable. And then, there is a certain amount of, they have to take that on board themselves, and they have to take ownership of that situation. And once they do that, we all know that this system that they play can be successful. So if you bring in somebody like Kyron, who's used to playing in the under-23s in that position, it's just a case of do what you do ordinarily, and we should be able to get near the levels that the performance that the team usually performs at. He's had the boy, so he knows all about him. Ndai in where he plays in that little hole,
you know, he'll have had the encouragement from people to say, look, go out there and do what you do. It's no different playing against these players as it is to that players. And that's, as a player, that's what you want to hear. You want to know that the manager and the staff have got full faith in your ability.
Only about, 4 minutes away from kick-off now. We heard Kevin Gage give his prediction. It wasn't exactly a prediction, was it? But what he actually said was, we won't lose. Right, so he's given that one. What do you say, Brian? Is it going to be a United win this afternoon?
I'm going to go for a 2-1 in our favour, based on, you know, the feeling that would have come out of the last game against Blackburn. If they can start quickly, they've got a chance. They've got a chance of getting 3 points today. It's not going to be easy. Millwall at home, and some people will go, well, you're mad, we'll start. And Kevin said it, you know, we'll settle for not losing the game. But I actually think that they're on such a roll, and I think confidence will be that high that they can go forward in this game and perhaps get a result.
3 points would be very nice, wouldn't it? And that table would look very nice if United can pick up 3 points against Millwall this afternoon. Time now to cross over to the new den. Kevin Gage has made his way over to the commentary position, where as ever, he's alongside our big match commentator, Matt Young.
Unbeaten and holding a position inside the top 6. Paul Heckingbottom, Sheffield United are riding the crest of a wave following a dramatic win against Blackburn in midweek. No time to enjoy the moment though, as the Blades head to inform Millwall.